First off, rest in peace, neighborhood nip. I ain't crip, but I'm on that neighborhood shoot. Building business, it's that black owned. If you hustle, better hustle till your pack gone. If you work, better work till your back hurt. And if you rap, make it better than your last verse. Yeah, more lyrics. Stick and move, Javante.
AJ, El Presidente, Eddie Kane University. Hill gon' heal, regardless. You, Buchanan, Bethel High School, by way of 3-Man Weave, LLC.
Michelle, producer, based over here.
You can catch this wave from the Marlins to the Mariners. Doing things you can't believe. It's the 3-Man Weave.
What up? You thought that I was that depressed that we wasn't gonna do an episode today?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I was. But you know, having a great co-host, he talked me off the ledge, and you know, I guess I'm here today, man. So welcome to another depressing episode of the 3-Man Weave podcast. I am on the brink of depression. Your host, Sad Boy Loco. I mean, AJ, Mr. Williams. Yeah. Who do I have with me today?
I've been jumped, been depressed. You know what I'm saying? So, you know,
but your quarterback, he told you to jump.
So, hey, you see what we posted.
he gave you a warning. He said, if you want to jump now,
you know what I'm saying? So we didn't listen early, but we damn sure listening now. I'm Hill. Hill gonna heal regardless, baby. Let's get right to it, man. But first, y'all know y'all can catch us on all major podcast platforms, 3-Man Weave, Instagram, Twitter, 3-Man Weave _. You can email us at podcast.3.man.weave@gmail.com. Oh man. Let's probably keep it a little brief, but let's go straight to the NBA, man. Still early in the season. The ratings are down, but yeah, I'm not really. I think that's kind of normal to me. Of course, I mean, it's still football season, like, you know. Then you had to compete with the World Series with two major market teams at, you know what I'm saying? Like
the biggest market teams.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, nobody really cares about the NBA till technically after Christmas. The NFL. Yeah. Well, NFL to snatch Christmas away, but
yeah, true. So it might be after All-Star break.
Yeah, so
once the Super Bowl's over.
Yeah. But for me, primarily, it's two teams that I really want to discuss right quick. I know we was talking about them in the offseason. We talking about the Cavs.
Yeah.
They got to blow it up, and you know, they got to trade Darius Garland or what they go
Jared Allen, somebody.
Yeah, they can't work, they can't coexist and all that. And they are 9-0. And it's like, was Bernie Bickerstaff that damn bad?
Man, listen, I don't know, but sometimes, you know, people just can't get the people stuff together, and maybe that's what it was. He couldn't get because the Cavs were a solid team, but maybe Bernie just really couldn't get the people stuff together, and he couldn't manage the different personalities and get things to mesh, and he didn't mesh with the team, and his message just didn't work. And so maybe, you know, getting that new message in the building is really what they needed, because, I mean, being the only undefeated team this far is out of all the teams that are, you know, 1 or 2 losses.
Yeah,
the Cavs is probably low on the list of who you would have expected.
Based off, like I say, based off the offseason and based off the rumors of Darius Garland saying that, hey, if I don't get an extension, trade me, or I can't play with Donovan Mitchell. You know, Jared Allen, they was tired of Jared Allen. They thought he could play, but he didn't want to get the shot. And, you know, all the nasty rumors that you thought that, I mean, either you believe them or you're not, but you thought they really couldn't overcome if you brought the same group back. For them to come out and just be like 9-0 and be playing like well, you know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, like, playing well is really like,
yeah,
because they were a good team. Like when they first made the trade for Donovan Mitchell, like I said, I think they got the 3rd seed that year, or they were 3-4. They was around that range, and it was still surprising that was a surprise at that point. They were like, you snuck up on people. Okay, now
Exactly.
you come in the year 2 of it, you got some expectations, and they didn't live up to whatever expectations that they had at all. And like I said, it was a nasty offseason. It was similar. I mean, it was similar to the Lakers, right? Like, you just didn't care because it was Cleveland.
Right.
Like I said, it was nasty in there. Like I said, it was a reason.
Yeah.
Like they got rid of the coach. Like, so like I said, it's a crazy. Do you think this is sustainable?
I think it is sustainable. Maybe not at this clip, but I think that with the East right now,
Mm-hmm.
we'll probably get into some of the teams either a little bit later on, in this pod or later on in the season. But with the teams in the East, I mean, who's really gonna who do we see that's really going to take them down outside of the Celtics?
But like you say outside of the Celtics, it's like, okay, eventually the Knicks are going to get it together. I do believe that the Knicks are going to get it together. They 3-4. That's not. I mean, that's how a lot of teams start, to be quite honest.
Right, for
You know what I'm
sure.
saying? So I'm not mad at that, but that's it.
Yeah,
I'm looking. That's what I mean.
because I mean
Pablo
Bucks.
was starting out hot, looking like he wanted to be an All NBA player. He ended up getting a significant injury. Is Wendell Carter he ended up getting a significant injury as well. So
Yeah,
you take the Magic completely out of the equation until they get back healthy. We cannot we can't put the Sixers in the category of anything until they show us till Embiid plays. I mean, Maxey he just got injured. Paul George, been like, we don't know what the Sixers are
right.
until they show us. So as of now, to answer the question, it's only the Celtics.
Yeah, no, to me that it's especially starting out
As of now, like
right.
I want to make sure as
Yeah,
of now.
as of now, but also starting out almost not starting out 9-0. They're positioning themselves to kind of really have a comfortable lead going throughout the season. It's like, even if some of these teams get it together, even if the Bucks get it together, even if the Knicks get it together, will they cool off so much where these other teams start to surpass them? It's like I said. So to me, the East is really basically the inverse of what's happening in the West, where everything is wide open. Like early on, it just seems like a 2-horse race.
You mentioned the Bucks, bro. What's up with the Bucks, dog? The rumors. Not say the rumors. The criticism or the ridicule for Giannis was starting to mount a few seasons ago. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then they just snowball. Once you get Coach Bud fired, you know what I'm saying, for whatever reason. Some people agreed, some people didn't. You get the other coach. What is it? Adrian
Griffin.
Griffin. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, Adrian Griffin.
You end up getting him fired mid-season after you vouched for him to get hired. You know what I'm saying? Let's be okay. It's a rumor. We don't know if it's true or not that Giannis had any say-so in these decisions, but based off what we're seeing, you didn't got 2 coaches fired, and now all of a sudden Doc is in the building. We know what Doc is,
for sure.
But it's now rumored that Giannis has issues with Coach Ham, and I'm like, why do you really have issues with Coach Ham? But did you already have issues with Darvin Ham? Because he coached you before, and we never heard about these issues, back then. And then when everything was good, when y'all was winning.
Right. And that's another thing that I want to say is is it truly that you have issues with, Darvin Ham, or is it, do y'all have issues that y'all aren't winning right now? And I think, that to me, this kind of comes back to the old adage of winning cures all. Mm-hmm. And my whole thing is, y'all y'all did what y'all did to make moves to get Damian Lillard, and it just has not been working. And you moved on from a really strong piece in Jrue Holiday, and we've seen what Jrue Holiday has done since he's left. And I'm not blaming it on nobody, but what I am saying is sometimes, you have to, actually see how things fit. And that's one of the things that good GMs do. They just don't go get a good name They don't just go get a good player. They get a good player that will fit, because sometimes what works one place doesn't work when y'all get together. It's just like when Bron, D Wade, and Chris Bosh got together in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
That worked because how they were able to mesh in jail and make it work. KD going to Golden State was able to work because of how they were able to make that offense work how they were make that team work until it didn't. But then KD, James Harden, and Kyrie, Kawhi, Paul George, and James Harden, stuff like that. Certain things sometimes just like all y'all three sound good together.
Mm-hmm.
If this was like pickup basketball,
mm-hmm.
yeah, but what can you do to actually build around this? And one of the things that teams that we've seen teams do in the past is like they kind of build that wall, the Giannis wall or whatever. And so it's like, okay, we go get a shooter, but there's other things that you need outside of just getting a shooter. Like if you're gonna play a certain style.
The thing about, and back to this Dame decision, this was a Giannis approved decision again. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't get any for it to be rumors of he's threatening to leave. It's like it's giving KD vibes at this point. It's like, bro, like we gave you KD vibes in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Like we did everything that you asked for us, and now you upset that it's not working, but these are the things that you asked for. So it just don't make sense. I mean, like go ahead.
All I was going to say is that I was just going to make that point that we made previously when we were talking about KD. Everybody, has looked at Bron and said, "Oh, the GM" and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of some of the top guys have always been like, "Oh, not said it out loud, but it's almost like they've tried to play their hand in that way, where they want to kind of be the GM of their own career and stuff like that." But one of the things that we said is, y'all obviously aren't as savvy as putting certain things together as LeBron is, if that's what you're trying to be, because it may not have been successful each and every season, but LeBron has had more success doing it that way than all of these other star players who have tried to do it combined.
Yeah, he's had more success. I'm not gonna argue that. We'll be here all day. If I wanted to nitpick on some of the decisions that he wanted to make.
No. And I'm not saying he's great at it, but what I'm saying is at least he has he can come in and have a sheet and say, "Hey, look, this is what I've done when I've done these things and when I've asked for these moves." Because again, he also wanted them to draft Shabazz Napier.
I mean, they did.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
And then he left.
Right. So it ain't always like it's about to, just be perfect with him. But at least at each stop, he could be like, once I started doing it my way, I got a championship. And then the last point that I'll make is, kind of like the thing that is a little bit different with Bron is I kind of don't necessarily 100% blame him, because when he did it Dan Gilbert's way, he was basically like just me and it's just LeBron and everybody else, and he's just dragging them along. So he's like, all right, cool, I'll do this, I'll put it together, and then we're gonna make something work. And then it worked. And so it's just like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, because he's seeing sometimes like, hey, some of these front offices, and we've talked about it, are incompetent.
That's true. So let's move on to the West right quick before we move on. It's like it's different than the East. It's 3-team race at number 1 is 7-1. Your Suns are 7-1.
Yes.
Got the Thunder, and we also got the Warriors. I want to touch on the Warriors first. Pause. They had an interesting offseason as well. Like they was in a state of transition and a state of flux of pretty much what are we gonna do with Clay. They made a decision to move on from Clay and to pick up Buddy Hield. Now, based off how Clay looked last year and based off how Buddy Hield looked like last year, it was almost Spider-Man meme. Like, these boys is washed. Like,
right.
So coming into this season, I'm not sure everybody's really that excited for a Buddy Hield replacement when it came to Clay.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it, have you seen him on the court? Like,
a seamless transition.
I mean,
it's like But it almost seems as if like that's the power of being surrounded. Not even being surrounded, but playing next to Steph Curry, kind of in that system that they have, where it's like, yeah, like you're gonna get space, because I don't care how old Steph Curry is. The one thing that dude gonna be able to do is shoot.
Yeah.
He gonna be able to, like, he may not be able to, run off of them screens like he has, in previous years, but he's going to be able to shoot. And it's actually benefited Buddy Hield so much that so far this season, he's been a better 3-point shooter than Steph right now.
Yeah, that's what.
Bro,
yeah,
he's shooting the same amount of 3-pointers as Steph, and he's hitting them at a 50% clip.
Yeah,
that's scary. And then, like, again, they're shooters, like, some of the other guys, like you got Moses Moody, like he's been showing up. And what's I can't stand when black people do that, but the white dude, Podziemski.
Yeah, Podziemski.
Yeah, like, hey, like them, like
you put him back in his rightful role, though.
Exactly. And that's almost like kind of like what they didn't get when they were still kind of trying to run out there with Klay, but Klay was a shell of himself, where it was like, we kind of need these young players to step up, because we need to kind of take the slack off of Klay, because we're not getting consistency out of Klay. So it's like, we need some of these guys to step up. But then you bring in Buddy Hield, and then it's like, okay, he can settle in that position next to Steph, and then everybody else gets to kind of take a step back. And I think that's really what is kind of like elevating this team. And we talked about it with the Cavaliers. Is this sustainable? At this rate, I don't know if it's sustainable, just because you have some of these young players. But what I will say is, I think it can be, they can still be in the mix, because again, like, you're not necessarily asking some of the other guys to do something crazy. You know what I mean? Like, you're just asking them to kind of still fit in that role. Like, you still have Andrew Wiggins kind of fitting in his role. You got Kuminga being able to do what he's doing, and then you got your guys coming off the bench. And again, like we said, that pickup of DeAnthony Melton and Kyle Anderson, like it just kind of allows everybody to kind of take the pressure off of everybody else and kind of play a role-based team style of basketball.
I think the fact that I still don't like how they handling the Jonathan Kuminga situation. I do understand that his asking price was a little too high based off what he's done so far. I do understand that part, but like making him come off the bench now was I don't know. I mean, obviously the record wise, it was the right decision, but I don't know if that was the decision that they made based off basketball. I think they made it off a business decision to try to devalue,
But I won't necessarily say it devalues him, as long as he's able to kind of still hoop.
Yeah, because
I do believe that Jamal Crawford, Jay Will, and some of these other six mans, they did kind of change how you look at a bench player. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think they will have he still will be able to come to them and say, hey, nah, like, look here, dog. Like, shoot, we seen Grayson Allen get paid a couple years ago, like last year or the year before. And so I think that he will be fine, as long as he's able to continue to do what he's doing, especially as far as when it comes to, basically, he may be the sixth man, but when it comes to minutes, he's basically playing starter
minutes. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's really just not really that big of a deal. You asked was it sustainable. I think the only thing that's crazy is one of those things I've seen the rumor of, that they're a player in the big, they looking for a big time trade, and I'm sitting there like, this is the AJ type of move that, oh yeah, we're not going to settle and rest on our laurels right now, we're going to make ourselves better. I'm like, all right, cool. It's like, I don't know how I feel about that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, if y'all are playing at this high of a level, and that really mean that you could compete with anybody, especially in the series, and you put Steph in the series, what's up? Like,
for sure. But I just want the thing about it is, I think the difference is, like, you have like for them, what they just have to do is they just have to be able to kind of have the foresight of what they're trying to be and who they want to be, and try and figure out what's the best move forward. Because again, the best player in your team's history is 36. You know what I mean? So it's like you're only going to have him around for so much longer, and so you do kind of want to capitalize on, you know, kind of, you know, doing the best that you can for him in this time. And, you know, even if you want to say like, okay, they're in their rebuild phase, but it looks like they might be ahead of schedule type thing, then it's like, okay, cool. But getting ahead of schedule, what does that do for a 36-year-old, 37-year-old, 38-year-old Steph Curry? You know what I mean? And so it's just like, can you try and expedite that and then figure out the future later, because you want to kind of do that for your all-time great and just kind of bolster his thing. Because one thing that it is we've seen the conversations have started to bubble up. Oh, is Steph Curry, better than LeBron type thing. So it's like, right. And so it's like, okay, well, if you want to do that, one of the best ways to do it is get him some more championships and be able to kind of have that under your belt, where it's like, well, if y'all think LeBron's the greatest of all time, we got Steph, who's beat him in the finals, who did this and all this, and, you know, best record, 73-9, all of that type thing. So it's just kind of like, you know, is that what that franchise wants to do, or they want to kind of, you know, just kind of be on like a steady incline? So
there's no need to talk about the Thunder right now, because I think the Thunder is exactly where a lot of people projected them to be so far, based off how they finished last year and based off the offseason that they had. They don't have Isaiah Hartenstein yet, so that is like kind of scary.
Yeah, and so, but and also, I think it's kind of scary, because I think when you bring in Hartenstein, you don't have to bring in, like, you don't necessarily got to bring in Hartenstein kind of like and play him what you signed him to be. Whereas like, you know, all right, we coming in to get a center. You can kind of use him as just like a bench big and matchup dependent kind of thing. Where it's like, you know, we play the Nuggets. Oh yeah, Hartenstein, this is one of your games. We gonna get you in here and kind of put you up against Jokic. But we playing the Suns. Hey, Chet, go run the 5. Because it's like, we're not scared of Nurkic. Like, we're not like we don't need him, like someone to kind of like take that. And then, you know, we don't necessarily, like, as far as like true bigs and stuff like that, you can kind of play with the lineups. Like if you're playing like 7-1, we talk about the Warriors. You bring in, like, you know, you can have Hartenstein off the bench and have him kind of, you know, play some of those Kevon Looney minutes or something if you want to, or you keep him off the court and make Kevon Looney come out there and guard Chet and run around with Chet. So it's like you can be very matchup dependent, and I think that's going to be one of their biggest things that they're going to be able to kind of, you know, get people on, is because that's just going to provide a lot of versatility with their size and their ability.
We got plenty more time to talk about the NBA, so I'm going to save some of my questions that I got for later on, because they may get answered and it may not even have to waste my time. But, you know, before we move on, your Suns are tied for first place as well.
And
let's go.
I truly like the offense and just the team that I've been able to see play. I think that we still have a lot of room for growth, because, you know, we're still just getting into the system, still just learning and stuff like that. And everybody's kind of, you know, getting together. And, you know, KD he's still looking like KD,
which is kind of crazy at this point too.
Yeah. He's still looking like KD. And the thing about it is we haven't really even seen the best of Book yet. And I think, like, once we kind of see that, it could really get scary. Like, so before we kind of came online, you know, I was talking about how Buddy Hield, he's basically shooting 50% from 3, you know, currently. But, you know, one of my biggest things that I had an issue with this team was we always settled for 2s. Bud got us shooting threes. Like Book is at
Mhm.
about 8 threes a game. KD is like at 6 threes a game. And Bill is even at I think 6 threes a game. And almost like and Bill and KD are over like 40%. Book is in a slump right now. But if he comes out of that, I think this team could really like we talk about sustainability. I think
Yeah.
that this could be one of those teams that is able to sustain it. And like we can move on. But I actually was going to say this on a previous episode, but I'm going to say it now because we are talking about the Suns. He got hurt, but I think going through this season, a lot of people are going to start to, put Ryan Dunn in that rookie of the year conversation because what he's been able to do defensively in some of these games against some of the big names, I think that he's kind of like that defender that we had, when we had a young Mikal Bridges. And he's, been able to kind of, play off of Tyus Jones, get some of those cuts, and he's not afraid to, shoot the three. He's got to work on, that shot. But I think eventually Ryan Dunn is going to be in that rookie of the year conversation as well.
I raised my eyebrow, but it was like it's not.
It's because it's not many.
Yeah, but it's not hard to do. I mean, like you say, Rob Dillingham just starting to play.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying, for the Timberwolves and stuff like that. I mean, the number one overall pick had a great game the other night.
Yeah, but it's like,
yeah, what are we doing here? My guy Zach Edey has been balling for the Grizzlies.
He's been hooping.
But I mean, like he ain't lighting the world on fire, but he has been doing his job. So I know I did raise my eyebrow, but now like when I sit back and think about it, it's like
I mean,
especially based off y'all record, y'all would get the notoriety of
exactly, and that's I took all those things into consideration. So it's like he's probably going to be one of our like if not our number one defender on this team. And so you're going to see him go up against a lot of big names as a rookie. He's going to be on a team that all things knock on wood keep going as they are. He's probably going to be on a team that's at least top 4 in the West. And you know what I said about where I expect him to be. Yeah. So it's like he's going to get that notoriety and it's going to get his name out there because the rookies ain't really, it ain't like you got like it's not like one of those years where you got a John Zion or you got a Trey, Luka, and the other dude. You know what I mean? Let me not do that. DeAndre Ayton.
Oh man. So man, we had a shake up, man. Somebody finally bit the dust. Well, another one bites the dust. And kind of the writing was on the wall. He was one of those guys projected to get fired mid-season and before the season. But when Cam Jordan said, "Hey, look, bro, we lost to the Panthers."
Oh, we know what was up.
Yeah, that was kind of like, all right, bro, we got to get him up out of here. It's unfortunate for Dennis Allen because I kind of think he wasn't dealt a bad hand.
Okay, so let me say this.
He was dealt the hand that you got to be elite to handle, though. It's like you got one of those, you play spades, you got one of those hands like, all right, let me.
You gotta see how the board fall.
Yeah, let me play. If I play this right, I can do my part.
Because when you got a hand full of low spades,
yeah,
and the person that's ahead of you already cutting hearts, it's like I basically got to throw my spade out because if you play your high spade, I got to throw my spade out because I'm a renege. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like you kind of just like you handcuffed, especially the way that this front office kind of does things, and kind of how they do things in the draft, where it's just like, hey, you didn't have to go get that player right now, kind of type deal. And then it's just like they're always doing cap gymnastics, and it's like, okay, we're 80 million over the cap, and then we got to do some clearing, we got to do this, we got to do some restructures, and we got to do this. And then now it's like, okay, well, this person is 38 years old, but we just restructured, and do we want to really move on to him? Because you kick the can down the road long enough, sometimes you're gonna stub your toe. And so I think with Dennis Allen taking over for Sean Payton after the kind of the Drew Brees era, trying to figure out the quarterback. Oh, we'll go get Derek Carr.
Mhm.
and stuff like that. There's talent on this team, but it's so much going on around it where it's just like, can it really be consistent? And I think that's been their problem.
They was top heavy.
Yeah.
And like you say, once the injuries started to pile up, they didn't have the depth to sustain anything. So we seen the first 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks wasn't sustainable because they had like amazing blowouts. But we
And
seen
then,
them. We seen them compete though.
that interior offensive line. Remember what happened?
Yeah.
Once those injuries happen, that is a direct correlation of when all the injuries happen, because it was like, okay, you running the ball and you got Derek Carr comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And then once Derek Carr got to do things out of structure, it just looked completely different. And then the run game was different.
Once he has to do things out of structure, like you said, that's the we know the book. Once he got the ad lib, like you say, he's one of the best that can throw up and get a pass interference. But once that ain't working, we know what time it is. But and that's what happened. Like I said, let's say if everybody was healthy, they would have a better record at this point. Like I said, their backup quarterback situation was. I mean, I was a Spencer Rattler like hopeful.
Yeah,
and maybe there's still hope for him to be a consistent backup. He just wasn't ready. And then the other dude that came in after that, he was just as bad. So it was like, man, like we already got Derek Carr, like, and and I'm a Derek Carr supporter, like,
right.
So, but like, when you lose Derek Carr, it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't look that bad.
Yeah, like, and my thing is, it's like, for me, I just think that's what happens when you kind of, like you say, you build things top heavy and you miss on draft picks, and
that's what it was.
You miss on free agents. Like, I have firsthand knowledge on this. So it's like, as soon as one chink in the armor goes down, like, and this used to happen with Andy Dalton. This is one of the reasons why the Bengals had those issues in the playoffs with Andy Dalton. It was like when everybody was there, mm-hmm. and you could fire on all cylinders. Mm-hmm. Oh, it looked great.
Yes.
But the moment one thing changed and you kind of got to actually make plays, and you can't just like go out there and rely on just, all right, we have good players in this scheme, just do your job, this and that, and it's going to work. And like, people actually got to like play football and make plays. That's when it looks completely different. And that's what's happening with them right now. And, even with Dennis Allen, the defense, like, he had the defense, playing okay,
mm-hmm.
but it's like, it's only so much that you can do. And once the offense didn't, really look that good, and it kind of, they start taking some hits, it was like, yeah. And I actually think Dennis Allen's he's going to be, one of those career defensive coordinators now.
Oh,
but I think he's going to go somewhere and he's going to hold it down for somebody's defense.
Yeah. One of these, if he links up, how the plan go. If he links up with one of these, young hotshot offensive coordinators, man, if Ben Johnson recruits him on his staff, because I think they are familiar with each other, right?
Exactly.
So they got some turnover. So
mm-hmm.
I know everybody's ready to link up Ben Johnson and Robert Saleh, but I kind of think this may align a lot better, based off the scheme versatility that Dennis Allen has.
Yeah, and I think Saleh might end up back in San Francisco.
If you paid attention to Kate Bay and the San Fran, that on Tuesday, they've
mm-hmm.
been advocating to get Saleh back. My thing about that is, it's like, I don't think the current defensive coordinator has done a bad job. It's just, I think I think it's stale from what they're trying to do over there.
For sure. And the only reason why I say I think he might end up back there is because we know Shanahan likes having a certain, system.
Yeah.
And I think that, when Saleh left and they brought in DeMeco, you felt like it was like, everything was status quo. but now it's
he
starting
was on the staff. That's why.
right, and now you're starting to see kind of that drop off, and it's just like, okay, I think that Shanahan, knowing kind of like the, some of the timeline that they have and stuff like that, I think he might want to kind of, get some of that stability back in the building.
And
Possibly.
I don't think that Salah did such a bad job in New York, or at the same time, I think he was such a scapegoat that I think that he will position himself to try to get another job. And I don't think the 49ers would give him, I know they would have success. Let me get it, but I don't think they would give him the shine that he needs
to come back and be another defensive coordinator. I mean, a head coach again.
Yeah, I get it. Like, let's say he does link up with a Ben Johnson, depends on where they go. I think the shine of Ben Johnson it will give him, what he needs. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we good. Yeah. With them being so over the cap, now mind you, they've been over the cap. They're one of the teams that I always look at and say the cap is a myth.
Right.
Because they've been over the cap since I've been
in college.
Yes. And because I remember being in college and them signing Jarius Byrd to the highest paid safety. I'm like, they don't have any cap room. And I was a sophomore in college. Like, that was 2007.
Yeah.
It's 2024. So they've been doing this. So and they've been a contender. Like, I mean, the Drew Brees era, they had some years that the team wasn't good, but it wasn't a whole bunch of years that they wasn't good.
Right.
But so it's like they, like I said, for example, so they're one of those teams that I'm like, yeah, the cap, whatever. Them being 81 million over the cap next year, like
crazy.
But the thing is, though, they don't have sheddable like
contracts. Yeah.
So it's interesting.
They gotta hope some people retire.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see how they rebuild this thing, because if they tear it down, like probably like a lot of people are suggesting that they should do, then I hope Aaron Glenn did not get this job. Like, no,
it's gonna be Ejiro Evero.
Okay. Even still, I hope he don't get it either. But it's like,
right.
But we know.
Give it to Josh McCown.
That's gonna. I'm telling you, the hire that they make is going to let me further know
what they trying to do.
Because if they try to get a hot shot, one of these young guys, one of these young coordinators, try to go find another Sean Payton, then okay, cool. I did not know what type of time they owe. But
you bring in Hugh Jackson.
Oh. we know we know. Is he still at Grambling?
I don't think so. I think let me Google that. I don't know where that man at.
That boy followed you, boy, and we lost everything with Hugh. Poor Hugh. What is this?
Hold on, wait. Let's see where he at.
Bro, this is okay. We gonna talk. Please try to upload that if you can.
He had Georgia State.
How did you get this Georgia State? Who's at Georgia State?
Hugh Jackson. He had Georgia State.
No, that's Tennessee State, is right?
Eddie George is. Yeah, so he's the assistant general manager at Georgia State.
The assistant general man. Oh my God, Hugh, my God. Wish you the best, my brother.
He should have listened to me.
I mean, you tried to warn him, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how the Saints recover from this. It's two ways. Either continue doing what you're doing, and eventually it's gonna work out, or you got to blow this thing up. But it's not even can't even blow it up. But let's get to the picks, man. Can you get that graphic that you just sent me up though?
I'm about to let me see. I think I can.
All right.
Ooh, let me close that.
We'll get to week 10 while you work on that. We did have a game last night, and your team was involved. And if you can check on the Instagram live right now, one of your favorites from Baltimore is definitely trolling you. Has been trolling you since the start. Your guy D-Bake, he told y'all want nothing. He told y'all he the biggest. Baltimore, y'all still hyped off that Super Bowl loss. These are the words from your guy. But I mean, you expect nothing less. It's a season sweep for the Ravens, for the Bengals. it was two tough games that could have went either way. So his team was on the the positive end, so I understand his excitement. Me on the outside, I got to watch two great games from y'all, and I didn't have a dog in the fight. I do understand how you feel, but it's like, I mean, I know y'all needed that game to continue to try to propel yourselves into the playoff picture,
Yeah.
but it's kind of like you know you don't want to hear it, but it's like, man, it was a tough game, man. I mean,
So here's my thing. I intentionally didn't do the pick'ems last night because it was like, I know how this is gonna go. I know how it's gonna go because I know that we just don't have the defense.
we got some dedicated people here.
My guys in DR, what's up, my boy?
We had Sean in Bahamas last week.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh.
Man, see, this is what I like to see on vacation. Our guys pulling up, but I knew how it was gonna go. I just didn't. I didn't for like. I knew it was gonna be a high scoring game. I thought it was gonna be like, hey, we're gonna have to score just like we did last time. I didn't know that our defense would actually play pretty well as it did early on in that first half. And they weren't perfect, but they got stops. That's all we really needed them to do. Like, just don't let them score every single time that they touch the ball. And it happened. And then, the entire game changed when Chase Brown fumbled, and they scored every single time they touched the ball after that. And it was just like, that was frustrating because just like, it's always something. Every single game, there's something that I can point to that said, we could have won the game if that didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, it's so frustrating. Just because it's just like, for me personally, people are saying, oh, you're wasting, Joe Burrow's years and a great Jamar Chase season and stuff like that. And it's like, for me, like, I believe this team tried to replicate the success that they had in the 2021 offseason, and they failed miserably. They failed miserably at what they did, and also consistently, they have been a bad drafting team. Like in this era, like in the last, I would say probably 8 years, they've been a bad drafting team, and that's why you're seeing kind of some of the stuff that we're seeing on defense. You're seeing if Trey Hendrickson can't get you 4 sacks, the entire defense falls apart. You're seeing all of this happen because guess what? The best draft pick that you made in your tenure, Duke Tobin, Jesse Bates, and you let him walk.
Yeah.
And to me, that and so now you let him walk. Hey, one of the narrative changing free agent signings that you brought that you had. DJ Reader signed into the largest defensive interior lineman contract that season. Guess what? You let him walk. Go ahead. And so it's just like, to me, that's how I know this was just going to kind of go the way it was. Because on offense, Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, they're going to be great. They're going to be great. And when they have great games, that's going to happen, despite what they have around them. But it's only so much that this defense can do, because when you only have one star player and then just a bunch of guys on defense, it's not going to happen. You brought in Sheldon Rankins. He's been maybe saying he's been mediocre at best is a compliment. You brought in Geno Stone. Geno Stone has been terrible. You brought in Von Bell. It's a reason why you let Von Bell walk. And then, you look at some of your draft picks. You have Cam Taylor-Britt, a second-round pick. You have DJ Turner, a second-round pick. And then, you had Dax Hill, who was looking like your best cover corner. Then he goes out with a torn ACL. And so it's just like, where are you going to have a playmaker. You can't just have Trey Hendrickson and then a bunch of guys. If they made a move at the trade deadline to bring in a Calais Campbell, to try and go and get someone that you can, help throw in and get pass rush from the defensive interior, or possibly even an edge rusher. Go get a Jadeveon Clowney or something to help bolster your weakness on defense where you're actually weak. Then this game may have looked different, because without someone, to kind of help when you're playing talent like Lamar Jackson to actually collapse the pocket and get some of those cleanup sacks that Trey Hendrickson is forcing to you, then it's not going to look good. You know what I mean? And so this is all on the Bengals for being where they are. I put a lot of it on the front office. I put a lot of it on Zach Taylor. I give Zach Taylor a pass for some of it for yesterday's game, because he actually did exactly what I wanted him, like what I've been asking for him to do all season and even last year and the year before. Stop taking the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands in critical moments. Be aggressive. And he's clowning. And to actually go out there and stop just calling up plays where it's just like you're going to the sticks and that's it. Like, they were challenging them deep. And I know that they always, for some reason, they always do this against the Ravens, because the Ravens like to play them in man-to-man. But it's just like, it's almost like the Ravens know. It's just like, it feels like the Steelers era when we had Marvin Lewis, where it was just like, regardless of how good things are going, they gonna fuck it up somehow.
I have some questions about the Ravens, man, because it's like,
there's big questions about the Ravens.
I mean, because the fact that, like you say, where was the bracket coverage on Chase? It's like, for him to have like 200 yards, it was like, bro, who else was gonna stop? Who else was gonna beat you? If Yoshivas was gonna beat you, then yeah, let him beat you. Gesicki was gonna beat you, then yeah, let him beat you. But like, you really potentially let the one guy that can beat you, like,
do it, like, single-handedly.
Yeah. I'm not understanding. I get it. Zach Orr is young, and I'm hoping that he develops into something. They brought in Dean Pease, they kind of help him out, give him some advice, but it's like, yeah, and the beauty of John Harbaugh is he'll get rid of you too.
Yeah.
Or he'll demote you, he'll do something. Like, he not married to, to the staff, because, like, remember when he got rid of Wink Martindale, and people was like, "What you doing getting rid of Wink?" And he was like, "You see who I just brought in?" You know what I'm saying?
Oh, if you don't, you about to
find out. Like you said, when he transitioned from Marty Morningway to Greg Roman, he was like, "Bro, you see what we got going on now?" For him to listen and get rid of a Greg Roman, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's had a lot of coaches under his belt, and like, he's made, he made the best of it. So, like I say, Zach better get it together. I ain't say you're gonna get fired, but hey, look, we'll get that. Hey, you've been demoted,
right?
You're back to linebacker coach and stuff like that.
For sure. And the one last thing that I'll say is this offseason is going to be extremely pivotal for the Bengals, and whether they are actually going to be a serious contender moving forward, or if Joe Burrow is just going to end up being, Dan Marino. Great numbers, one of the greats that never gets a ring and never gets back type thing, because there are way too many holes and way too many obvious holes on this team, and they are just content with sticking with their guys. You know what I mean? It's like Alex Kappa has been playing terrible. He's been playing terrible. And so out of 79 qualified guards, he's rated 79. Cordell Volson, who was a late round pick anyway, who hasn't even, at least Alex Kappa, his first year here, he was our best offensive lineman. But it's like, Cordell Volson, hey, guess what? Out of 79 qualified guards, he's 77. And this with at the beginning of the season, this offensive line looked average when you had Orlando Brown. Because, you had Orlando Brown and, Trent Brown went down, but then, Amarius Mims came in and he played pretty well. So you had an average offensive line. But my last point is the reason why I say it comes down to the front office is because you keep making dumb mistakes. You bring in a tackle and Trent Brown with injury history. And it's like, okay, we got Amarius Mims to back him up, but it's the offensive line. Guys get hurt on the offensive line all the time. So having Amarius Mims as your only other viable tackle option, it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? And so, especially because he's a rookie who also had injury concerns, so you don't know what's going to happen there. So it's like now you got Cody Ford, who's usually played guard for you as your starting left tackle in games when your season is on the line.
Mm-hmm.
You're like everybody was talking about, defensive tackle, edge, and stuff like that, and you bring in a running back. But it's also malpractice to not get depth on your offensive line. It's just terrible. And so it's like they're going to have to fill out a bunch of holes quick in free agency, and you're going to have to hit in the draft.
But shouts out to the Ravens, though, because at the same time, we've continuously said, the defense is like bad or it's declining or whatever word that you want to use, that offense has been legit.
And they went out and got weapons for, one Lamar Jackson.
And this is we could put this in the rumor category because
it's definitely in the rumor category, but
we don't know if this is true or not. But the thing about it, the fact that you really just got there last week, right? You got there last week. Okay, cool. You didn't get involved last week. Why would they try to get you involved on the short week? That really don't make much sense. So for him, if this is true, for him to be unhappy already, bro, we could have left you in Carolina.
And you could have really been unhappy.
Could have left you in Carolina. I don't get it. I want to kind of give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
But based off his history,
because it's a reason why. Because remember, I think it might have been a Bengals game where it was a fumble and he was just standing there, and that was one of the things that led to him getting traded. In the first place.
We've heard of how he is in the locker room in Pittsburgh. He wasn't really the best in that aspect. So I said, I kind of me giving him the benefit of the doubt, it's naive to be quite honest.
For sure.
This is a rumor that kind of even if it's in a rumor category and we don't know it to be true, it kind of holds some weight based off your history.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll like I say, we got 10 days to your next game. We will see. What's to come of this. But yeah, sure. Like I said, but we could left your ass in Carolina
easily.
Oh, man, but we got a Germany game in poor Germany. They get to see Daniel Jones versus Bryce Young.
I was about to make a joke, but I'm so glad I didn't.
Say it.
No. I'll say this one off air. Trust me.
I kind of was gonna start off the show like that, bro. It ain't no rules. Obviously, it ain't no rules. You can do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? If that's the case, but I don't want to make us go left because we got to get up out of here. First off, is this a record? Is this the first time we got the nasty game of the week?
Immediately. Nasty game of the week. And that not only is it the nasty game of the week, it's the nastiest game when you wake up. It's how you gonna start your day with the nasty. You know how nasty this is. I don't even think I gotta set a lineup because I don't got nobody from these teams. The only person out of this game is either Chuba Hubbard or Malik Neighbors that most people got, and either one of them is probably never leaving your lineup right now about how they playing anyway.
Shouts out to Tracy, the running back for the Giants.
Yeah, I do like Tyrone Tracy. Yes.
He's been a good waiver find for some people that have gotten him. Me. In one league, I got him in one league. I couldn't get him in the rest of them. But Yeah, this nasty. Who he got? Matter of fact, let me pull up. I gotta pull my I probably got the Panthers off pure hate. You got you put who you got?
Oh, I haven't done it, so I'm gonna do all mine live. So
That's why, yeah. So I'm looking at mine. I'm trying to.
the only reason why, like, I know you got the Panthers off for pure hate.
I did.
The only thing that I can say is I think I'm gonna go with the Giants because of their defensive line.
Yeah,
And so I think that's what's making me go with the Giants because, although Bryce Young was able to get that win in Carolina, I think that was kind of a team that was on the brink of implosion.
who? Which team?
I mean, the Saints, my bad.
No, they was trying.
Yeah, no, they were trying, but I just felt like from what they were trying, from what they've been basically losing 6 straight, it was like, that they was going to be, it was a tough sledding for them. So, but I do think that defensive line is going to be able to put some pressure on Bryce Young and make Sunday a little bit more difficult for him. And they out there cleaning out all his wide receivers too.
Yeah, I get the logic. I understand the logic. Yeah, I get. Yeah, Jonathan Mingo's on the way.
Mingo's on the way.
Oh man, so we got the Patriots and the Bears.
I'm going with the Bears.
Me too, but I'm not confident.
I'm not confident. I'm not confident, especially hopefully Roma Dunze steps up.
They quit, bro.
Yeah, they quit. And it's like, hey, Drake May looking all right.
He is. He's gonna catch somebody. Like you said, he almost caught the Titans last week, but like you said, he gonna catch somebody. And I think this may be the week because if the Bears lose this game, that let me further know that the Hail Mary just took everything
out of them. Yeah. And we'll talk about this later, but again, Eberflus, man. If you lost it, you're gonna have to bring somebody else in there to rejuvenate that building. I don't think he can get it back even after the offseason.
It's just a reoccurring cycle for this team. But Eberflus will bounce back and be a good defensive coordinator for somebody too.
For sure.
I'll text you my theory about Eberflus.
Yeah, we'll talk because I remember we discussed, like I said, I thought he should get fired in the offseason because I felt like this is what was going to end up happening. I can't remember who said it, but somebody was saying like, yo, it's the Bears doing the same exact thing that they've always done. It's like you drafted Mr. Trubisky, fired his head coach, after his rookie season. You drafted Justin Fields, fired his head coach after his rookie season. You bring in Caleb Williams, one of the best prospects we've even seen in a while, firing his head coach after his rookie season. So it's like, and then it was like, hey, it wasn't like Shane Waldron was like some like can't miss hire anyway. It's like, all right, man.
It's one of those things. It's like you say, you when you look at your team, it's like, why we can't get this right? Why we can't do this? And then you look at other teams, it's like, y'all made this same mistake, this same major mistake 3 times?
All right.
Okay, cool. With different people?
Exactly.
Okay, cool. All right. We got the Bills and the Colts.
Easy Bills.
Bills, yeah. We got the Vikings and the Jags. And for some reason, Doug was, gave some bulletin board.
I'm putting Sam Darnold for 300 on the parlay.
Yeah, he about to get greasy. We had the Vikings anyway.
Yeah, easy.
You know what I'm saying? He just delaying the inevitable when it comes to Doug Peterson. Broncos and the Chiefs is going to be a close game for divisional purposes off rip. But the Chiefs are going to win this. I got the Chiefs.
Why can't they fucking lose? Yeah, I got the Chiefs.
We know the Falcons about to beat the brakes off.
Falcons finna go crazy.
Yeah, got Riz, Mary.
They might bring Michael Penix in this one.
Yeah, he might get some reps, bro.
This might be the Penix game right here.
49ers fresh off a bye week. They get the Bucks that's injury riddled.
Man, if the Bucks just had Mike Evans, I would be like, hey, the Bucks got a fighting chance to really pull this one out. But they just got too many injuries.
Mhm.
I will say, I think Baker Mayfield and Cade Otton, they're gonna keep this offense kind of like afloat, and they're gonna make it competitive. But I think it's just gonna be a little bit too much for Tampa Bay, and I think the 49ers will end up taking this one. You just got a non-breaking.
Nah. All right. Nah. Yeah, like I said, if the Bucks just had anybody, I would definitely give it. Especially the way they competed with the Chiefs.
Yeah,
It's like, um, you got the Steelers and the Washington Commanders. This is a tale of two hates right here, because I know you hating for the Steelers, and you know I'm hating for the Commanders. I'm waiting for them to come down a notch. Steelers are coming off a bye week. Brian Robinson is out. I think this is going to be a good game. I think this is going to be a game it's going to test both teams. Like,
it's strength versus strength.
yeah. So I got the Steelers. You know, off pure. I gave you logic though, but you know, it's all
Yeah,
hate.
and I'm going to go the Commanders because I think that their offensive line is playing a lot better than what people thought it would coming into the season, and I do think that Jaden Daniels is going to be able to make some plays against that secondary. I think they will be able to do that, and so it really just going to come down to who's able to, like, is the Steelers defense going to be able to stop Jaden, on multiple plays, or will the Commanders defense just give up one too many things to Russell Wilson? But I think the mobility that Jaden Daniels has, and kind of how he's been playing inside and out of the pocket, I think is going to kind of be able to kind of allow him to mitigate some of the pressure that Pittsburgh might bring. So I'm
Not
going,
ha-
I'm
not
going
have
Commanders
not having Brian Robinson this game is definitely going to tell. It's going to hurt.
for sure. For sure.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I like your points. The Titans versus the Chargers. I got the Chargers, bro.
Yeah, I got the Chargers.
You know what makes me mad about the Chargers, and it doesn't make me mad about the Chargers. I think it's making me mad about the talking points around the Chargers. You know what I'm saying? It's like everybody's ready for this confirmation bias of Jim Harbaugh. He just changed everything around, and like those are points to be made, and I get it. Those are great points, and he has changed everything around, and they look like a competent team, like a competent franchise. They have a winning record. They may make the playoffs based off that.
Yeah,
but it's
sure.
like, can we take a step back from like some of the stuff that they're saying? Like, can it happen first? I get it.
Yeah.
You was already excited about Jim Harbaugh. I get it, but it's like they haven't really beat anybody yet.
Yeah, and I think
done anything.
The time will come.
That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
The time will come, and I think they're in a good spot where it's like, okay, they're playing some of these teams. It's like, all right, you can bolster you be able to kind of bolster that record and stuff like that. So yeah.
Say hey, girl. Okay.
And so, but yeah, I'm going with the Chargers on this one.
All right.
Let's jump into the 4:00 slate. We got the Cardinals versus the Jets.
Yeah, I know who you.
Yeah, so with this one, I'm gonna go the Jets in this one, to be quite honest. I think the Jets will get this one just because I think that the defense that they possess is going to kind of be able to give the Cardinals some trouble. And I don't know with the defense that they have if they'll be able to kind of keep it close enough where they can pull this out in the end. So I am going with the Jets in this one. Shocker.
Yeah, it is, because I'm going with the Cardinals.
Yes.
And I'm going with the Cardinals because it's like, okay, what have you you showed me one good week.
Yeah.
And they went against the Texans, and the Texans was a team that was waiting to lose.
Yeah,
based on
and
how they were playing.
and they had some injuries.
Yeah, the injuries have definitely caught up with it. It was like I said, they were still getting by, they were still winning. And it was like, okay, at some point, you know, the dam is gonna flow over with the Texans. And they had opportunities to still win that game. You know, it was just that time for them to lose. You know what I'm saying? Now,
Right.
at the same time, the Jets did look good. The Jets they figured some things out, you know, and they got the victory. That's fine.
Yeah.
Can you do it again?
Yeah. Just show it. Just run it back. Show us
And
again.
they haven't showed us any consistency all year. So why would I believe off one game that all of a sudden, once again, they just back? They're just the team that we thought they were off of one game.
Yep.
Nah, I'm not buying it. Call it hate, call it what you want. You'll see me next week, like you say. But
For sure.
it's definitely the
The one-sided nasty game of the week.
oh yeah, this about to be nasty.
The Cowboys versus the Eagles.
And you know what's funny? There's only going to be two outcomes of this game. It's going to be a blowout from the rip. They don't stand a chance.
Oh, the Cowboys will mess around and win.
And they're gonna win.
Yep, I'm sure I was about to say this is that game. This is that game. It's like Cooper Rush come in, they win, and next was like, oh, see, 2 years in a row, it should have been Cooper Rush's. It should have been Cooper Rush's team.
See, the funny thing about why they're gonna win is kind of how I was texting when I texted you last night. And I said the Bengals are gonna win. It was like they need a storyline this week.
Yeah,
and I think the storyline would have been at least for the day would have got you good. Like, can the Bengals make a run? Blah blah blah. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And in my side of the field is going to be definitely, Cooper Rush. Look at Cooper Rush did. He won, and that ain't it, and all that. That's what we're gonna hear on this side, and that's what we're gonna hear on this side. But at the other side, Philly, come on, Dallas. It's gonna get ugly over there.
Yeah,
because they tried to get that game away against the Jags. They tried to they had it they had a terrible game. They barely beat the Browns.
Yeah.
Like they are not going in these games and dominate. Now, when I say that, now all of a sudden they play the Cowboys, they go dominate them.
Right.
Yeah. But they didn't beat I get it. We can have a discussion about the Eagles like next week when they play somebody like a legitimate team. But it's like they don't look. It's crazy. Like Nick, it really looks like Nick Sirianni is just trying to make the Blues. Like, and they have players that's good enough to overcome
to stop them from doing such like
against some of the teams that they're playing.
Right.
But like I said, call it what you want. But like I said, it is what it is.
Lions versus the Texans.
The Lions is gonna stomp these dudes, bro.
Yeah. Because it was so funny coming out of last season. It almost looked like these teams were at the same level on the same trajectory type deal.
Mm-hmm.
But now it looks completely different. It looks completely different. And the Lions, literally, regardless of record, they might be the best team in the NFL.
But it's it's not even a might. I believe that they clearly are.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Like I said, you're gonna have to go in there and beat the Chiefs. You know what I'm saying? And they haven't shown on that stage
that they could do it.
But they the only. Other than that, it's the Lions, man. It's like the Lions is just. I got the Lions as like the best team in the league.
Yeah.
And I think it's clear.
Yeah.
And I think that the fact that the way that the Texans are playing, the way the offensive line is playing, it's not really looking up to par. Like you said, can we get a good game? I hope so.
Yeah, that's the most I'm asking for. Make it competitive, guys.
Because, like I said, they'll go out there and lose. Cool. All right, you lost to the Lions. I bet.
I believe I saw something that said Nico might be coming back this week.
He came off IR designation this week, but I'm not sure that he's going to play.
Okay.
So you got the 21-day window.
21-day window. Okay. They come off in that first week, but you never know.
He ain't really been practicing, so it's like,
yeah,
you never know. But I'm waiting to see because my fantasy team has definitely been crawling. I've been surviving because I'm still number one in this league, and I got somebody on my heels. His team is finally clicking on all cylinders.
That'd be the worst.
So
that'd be the worst.
I mean, I'm loving it because, like you say, it's keeping me on my toes. You know what I'm saying? But his team is really clicking, and my team is, surviving. But I'm still number one in the league, though.
Yeah.
You got the Rams and the Dolphins. Rams.
I'm going with the Rams.
Yeah, the Rams. I don't know what the Dolphins are at this point.
Well,
we know what the Dolphins are, but it's just like,
yeah, and I believe the goddamn that Rams defensive line gonna have Tua in hell.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, so I got the Rams.
Yeah, so that's the pick. That's it. Episode 257. I'm Hill. It's AJ. My kids here. So,
And we out.
Got it.